Hey everybody, and welcome back to our summer school here at Laneside Reviews. And on this episode, we're going to be looking at the better built shoe, the Brunswick TPU-X. Alright guys, so welcome back. As always, I am the bearded beast, Rob Johnson. And as I said on this summer school episode, we're going to be looking at the new TPU-X from Brunswick. Now, for those of you who have watched the show before, you know how much I liked the SST8s. Not only did I like my first pair that I got, but the second pair that I got specifically for the tour were incredible. So when Brunswick brought out the TPU-X, I had to say I was a little skeptical. I'll be honest. How do you take one of the best shoes of all time, the SST line, especially the SST8, and how do you measure up against something that good? Well, leave it to Brunswick to come up with some innovations and some style and comfort choices that really set them apart. What I would like to do for you guys is actually talk a little bit about my personal feeling about the shoes, and then we'll go in a little bit more in-depth into the construction. For those of you who followed me on Facebook for a while, you know that I tore my Achilles tendon and heel in my left foot, my slide foot. And it was very, very, very painful. And after that happened, I actually had to move orthotics into all of my shoes, including my SST8s. Now, while this is not optimal for the flex and the bending of the shoe, it was what I had to do to get by. When I got to my TPU-X's, the first thing I noticed was how comfortable they were. Without having to put my orthotic into them, they fit exactly the way I needed them to. Extremely comfortable and cushioned in the heel. And when I was done bowling, my foot didn't hurt, which was a common occurrence before I tore my Achilles and after. They're also built more, in my opinion, like a running shoe. So they fit very comfortably. They're tapered towards the feeling and the shape of the foot, so that when you lace them up, rather than being attached to your foot, they almost feel like they become part of it. And I think we'll see a little bit of why that is when we look at the construction of it a little more close up. Lastly, one of the things that was a big issue for me personally is, as somebody who has a very powerful slide and a very powerful throwing motion, I tend to rip shoes in half. For those of you who've thrown SST8s before, you know that sometimes the sole can actually start to crack, and that was because it was a uniform construction. And that's something that they've addressed in their newer shoe, but it was something that Brunswick was thinking about way before that. And with the TPU-X, and we'll see this in the design, it is actually designed to flex with your foot. As I said, to become one with your foot, so that when you're wearing them, they move as though you're not even wearing shoes. And it created an opportunity for me to be much more comfortable while I was bowling, and to keep my footwork out of my thought process. As we know, when we go up to bowl, we want to keep our brains as quiet as possible so that we're not really thinking too much when we should be just letting our muscles do the work. And if you're unsure about your footing and your comfort, it's really going to affect it. You're going to think about it all the time. And that's something that I've been able to remove from my game completely with the TPU-X. But rather than listen to me talk about how I feel about them, let's look at the construction and see why it does what it does. Alright guys, so here you see we have the entire TPU-X layout. Everything that came in the box. I have been wearing these for a couple of months, giving them a good try out so I could give an honest opinion on them. Now, one thing I want to reiterate is that I have a choice if I wear the Brunswick TPU-X's or the Dexter SST8s. That is my choice, whichever one I use. So if one is better than the other, obviously I'm going to say it, but I also want you guys to know why. So let's start right out of the box to see what we get. First thing we get is a pair of shoes. Ooh. Yeah, so we've got the shoes here. They come out of the box with one slider on. That's generally the 8. You can see mine's worn a little bit. I have been bowling with it. It also comes with the original slide heel. The other shoe has the stopper and the push-off sole. Now you also get the cool TPU-X booty. Now I have to say, when I got this one, I was a little, I don't know, it was a little weird to me. Just because I'm used to the other ones that have the plasticized bottom and then more of a material top, where this is almost, you can actually hear, it's more of a plastic, almost like a latex top to it. And I wasn't quite sure about that until the first time I dropped water on my foot. And it just rolled right off the top here. Now I wouldn't suggest walking through water or taking a swim in these things, but it's just a little bit of extra protection that they give you in this, as opposed to the regular ones. I like it. And you get the really cool TPU-X bag to put your extra accessories in, which I'll show in a second. Now it's got the handy dandy chart on the back to tell you which heel and which slider combination go together to make the least slide or the most slide. I think pretty much everybody has this, but it's nice that they still have it on here. Some companies, because it's something that's pretty well known, would just abandon it, but to have it here so that you can kind of go back and check it out is pretty cool. Both Dexter and Brunswick have this locked down tight, and it's good. All right, so enough with that. As I said, we get our number 8 slider, which I use a fair amount. Our number 6 slider, and our number 10 slider all come in that box. So we had the original slide heel. We also have this one here. So it comes with pretty much everything that a normal pair of shoes would come with. There's nothing really different there. I think the first real difference we get into between this and the other shoes on the market is in the actual shoe itself. So let's take a look at it real quick. I'll use my slide foot. I've pulled everything off of it already, and we'll start from the top here. Genuine leather top. Most of the shoes are the same way. However, the sole here, you can see this plasticized sole here. Now, I'm trying to remember what they call it here. It is, what's it called? A thermal polyurethane outer sole. That's where the TPU comes from. And basically, it's just, if you look at it, it reminds you of a running shoe. It's a polyurethane sole. What that does, it gives it a little bit of extra strength to it and a lot more durability, because it's a plastic rather than a leather or a bonded paper-like material. It gives it a little bit more strength here. Now I'll tell you why that's important. I love my TPU-X's. I also love my Dexter SST8s. However, for those of us who play a very powerful game, this is something that we've run into a lot with the SST8s. Because the sole is made of a composite of leather and foam, when you push off and slide, it actually busts right through. Now, this happened to me just before the World Series this past year, and almost left me with no shoes. Luckily, Dexter came to the rescue. I will say Dexter's customer service, top notch. They are awesome guys. They rushed me out a new pair of shoes so that I would not be without shoes at the World Series. But that is a design flaw that Brunswick has kind of looked at, and I know that Dexter has looked at as well. And they came up with the polyurethane outer sole to give more strength to the entire shoe, so you're not going to be wearing it out. It also allowed them to use the Flex Slide technology. See this bar here? It is a bar that's actually built into the shoe that has additional flex into it that allows us to take advantage of the more flexible, durable shoe, so that when you're using it, you don't have to worry about those kind of splits. And they happen in other shoes. They happen in the E-Tonic shoes as well. It just makes the shoe a little bit stronger all the way through here, all the way through the sole, which to me, it means a lot. I am very hard on my shoes. You can actually see if I bring it in here a little bit. You can already see all the scuffing through here and through my toe. I am very, very hard on shoes because of the amount of pressure and the amount of slide I put into them. Just the sheer force that I'm hitting the ground with, and sometimes walking into ball returns and other things. It's really, really good for that. So for power players, this is awesome because you're not going to be able to break through your shoe. Next up, like everybody else, the TPU-X has the nice velcroed areas on the bottom to add your soles to. However, as we said, we have the Flex Slide on the front, so the shoe flexes a little better. Now on the back here, you'll see that it uses this patented H-bar technology here. This I've actually found was really cool. When I'm changing my heels, because of the size of my foot, we get a universal one. And it fits, but it doesn't really fit, and I'm always kind of fiddling with it and trying to get it to fit properly. Where with the TPU-X's, they actually have a bar built right into it. And there's only one place for this to go. So I just find the bar, boom, click it in place. So you make sure you have the same spot every single time, and it's very, very stable. You can see, like, I can lift this up, or from the really cool remover tab in the back here, which I think is awesome. But still, because it has that H-bar in there, it actually locks it into place. Actually, I have to take this whole thing off again because it's got little grooves into it, and it just sits right down into the groove and gives it that stability. I really like that. Now, we talked about scuffing on it. I really like the toe, the kick plate that they put on the TPU-X's. As somebody who, from time to time or all the time, drags his foot, I don't have one of those nice, long, elongated slides like a Chris Barnes, the really technically sound one. My foot goes up and down. My toe will bang the ground. And I wear out the front of my shoes really quickly. So having that kick bar there, I love it. It's a little bigger than some of the other companies, so it gives me even more protection through the shoe. Once again, it's that whole polyurethane sole that they put in there, the thermal polyurethane, the TPU. It just makes the shoe stronger. Now we get into the inside of the shoe, which is actually the part that first attracted me to using these. Now, as I've said in the other videos, if you followed me on Facebook or followed our group on Facebook, lanesidereviews.com will take you straight there. You know that I tore my Achilles heel and the Achilles tendon in my slide foot. It's extremely painful. And since I did that, I've had to wear orthotics. Now, the SST8s were really awesome for that because they have the removable sole in them. so that you could put an orthotic in there, and it was really great. But I only have one pair of orthotics. They're really expensive. So pulling them in and out, in and out, in and out, I always found it a little cumbersome. The first thing that really caught me when I put on my TPU-X's is actually how they fit. You can actually see as I pull the sole out here, it's actually, and it's got some wear on it, I'm sorry. It's actually designed more like a sports shoe. It's biomechanically contoured, the entire shoe, so that it actually fits better. When people ask me, how do they fit, how do they feel, I always say that it feels like I'm putting on a pair of running shoes and going to the gym, which to me is the ultimate compliment, because with my running shoes, I have to buy extremely high-end running shoes with a lot of support in them because of my foot, because of a few other injuries that I've had. Yeah, I'm injury prone. Get over it. I try to, one injury at a time. Anyway, when I put these on, I don't have to put my orthotics on. They fit very, very comfortably like my high-end running shoe. And the way that they absorb impact, my feet aren't tired and my feet don't hurt at the end of the night. And the only other way I could get that was by putting my orthotics in my bowling shoe. So I was really happy with these. Now, it may be different for other people with orthotics, but for myself, that was a big, big selling point. Simply because I didn't have to take them out of my shoes. I didn't have to go through all that time. I mean, really, do you want to touch the stuff that's inside your shoe that you're wearing all day at work to then go and put it in your bowling shoe and have your shoe all hot and gross and what have you? So I really like that a lot. So biomechanical contouring, okay with Rob. Lots of holes in the shoe. One thing that was really different from a lot of other shoes I see out there is these shoes breathe really well. They are designed like a high-end running shoe. So they're designed to pass air through them to keep your feet cool, to keep them from sweating. Also helps to keep them from stinking, which, I've never heard a bowling shoe smelling before at all, ever, but I digress. So yeah, I have been really impressed with these shoes. Now there are some things. I got a first generation. The newer ones are now coming out. Some of the things that I had kind of hoped for to change, one was different colors. There's going to be some limited edition ones that come out in different colors, which is really cool. I think that's something that this brand will do really well with once they have more colors out there. It came with different colored shoelaces. Came with black and blue, so you could kind of color coordinate, which was pretty cool. So all in all, that's the TPU-X. Now, personal thoughts. Which do I like better? A lot of people ask me this, the SST8 or the TPU-X. I gotta say that it is very, 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 very close. Dexter has been making shoes for a very, very long time, and they have done very good things in evolving their shoes and delivering what bowlers want. Brunswick have come out with a shoe that I would say is comparable with the SST8 and even the new SST9. If you actually look at the 9, as they call it, it incorporates a lot of the things that Brunswick has come out with in their new shoe. So obviously Brunswick has done something right, because the other companies that have been around longer are borrowing from and using some of the same ideas to make their shoes better. So which one do I like better? I gotta be honest, not having to touch my orthotics is a pretty big selling point for me. I wore my Dexters all the way through my training for the World Series. I wore them when I was down at the World Series. They were very comfortable. I put these on and it felt like I was wearing, it was as comfortable as wearing my running shoes, with all of the benefits of using my SST8s. So I know people are going to say that I'm a little biased, but as I said, I have my choice of shoe to wear, and I chose these ones. And I think I've illustrated the point why. The orthotics, the the amount of wear that they can take and damage that that obviously I put on these shoes, and you saw it with the Dexter shoe. You know, that's a big deal to me. For the regular bowler, is this going to happen? I would say 99 times out of 100, this probably is not going to happen. There aren't a lot of people out there who put in the amount of energy that I do into the game, especially into my slide and my push-off and such. So for other bowlers, you know, this may not be a big deal because they may never see this. But comfort, style, breathability, the TPU-X really does have all of those things. It's designed for comfort first, to be comfortable to your foot, designed to contour to your foot, and then they added in all of the, you know, all the bells and whistles to take it over the top. So what I would say is, rather than listen to me talk about it, why don't you go to your local pro shop operator and see if they have a pair of TPU-X's and try them on. Because really, in a world where, you know, our personal choices mean so much and there are so many products out there, being able to choose the one that feels the best and fits your game the best is going to make you the most confident in it as a product and as a bowler. I think you will feel very quickly the difference between this and other shoes. And then when you get to inspect up close that thermal polyurethane, the TPU sole, when you put it up against everybody else's, I think you'll see the difference. Alright guys, that about wraps up another episode here from summer school. But don't worry, there's more coming. Because in the next episode, we're going to be looking at loudmouth golf pants. Yeah, I know, right? I am super excited about these. So until next time, we'll see you laneside. This program sponsored by Turbo, Driven to Bowl, for all the Quad 2 inserts and interchangeable thumbs we use in all of our videos. Dexter Bowling Shoes, the world's most advanced bowling shoe, the SST8. Bowlerama Berry, for all the lanes we bowl on. For birthday parties and corporate events, call now. Still searching for that perfect fit? With no residue and easy removal, Real Bowler's tape really is the Real Bowler's choice. Plantronics Rig, stereo headset and mixer. Play more, pause less. And Logo Infusion. Look the best, be the best, infuse your game. Logo Infusion.